Hey, anyone know who FarmBot 420 is? They're always in Fellwood farming herbs. Like, always. I've logged in at 3 a.m. and they're there.
Oh, yeah. That guy's been there for like 2 years. Never seen them leave that zone.
I whispered them once asking if they wanted to group. No response. They just kept farming in perfect circles.
That's obviously a bot, right?
Oh, definitely. Everyone knows. We've all reported them. Nothing ever happens.
FarmBot's a server institution at this point. They're like a landmark. Meet at FarmBot's herb route is a thing we say.
You're telling me there's a bot that's so famous it's a navigation landmark?
Yep, and honestly, I'd be sad if they got banned. Wouldn't be the same server without them.
I wonder who's running it. Must be making a fortune. That bot's been farming 24/7 for 2 years straight.
Whoever it is, they're a legend. That bot has more uptime than most actual players.
This is insane. We're talking about a bot like it's a person.
I mean, after 2 years, it kind of is. FarmBot's more reliable than half our raid team.
Welcome back to MMO Madness Behind the Troll Mask. I'm Boss Mode, and today we're talking about the bots that became legends. Automated players that ran so long and so well that they became a part of server culture. Let's explore the blurry line between automation and actual players. Before we get into the famous bots, let's talk about what separates a regular ban-worthy bot from one that becomes a server legend. First, let's define what we're talking about. Botting is using automated software to play the game for you. The bot follows a script. Farm this resource, kill these mobs, follow this path, repeat. Most bots are obvious. Get reported, get banned within days or weeks. But some bots are different. A legendary bot has longevity. We're talking months or years of operation without getting caught or banned. This requires sophisticated programming, adaptive behavior, and often just dumb luck that the bot never gets manually checked by a GM. They have visibility. A legendary bot isn't hiding in some remote corner nobody visits. They're in populated areas doing activities where players can see them. They become familiar. People recognize them, remember them, talk about them. They develop personality through consistency. Even though they're automated, the bot's behavior becomes predictable in a way that feels like character. Oh, that's just FarmBot doing his route. The consistency makes them feel more real, not less. They influence the community. Maybe they're a market fixture, always selling certain items. Maybe they're a navigational landmark. Maybe they're a running joke. The community integrates them into the server culture. And crucially, they avoid or survive the ban hammer. Either through technical sophistication, through flying under the radar, or sometimes through the community actively protecting them by not reporting them. What's fascinating is how communities react to obvious bots when they've been around long enough. At first, people report them. But after months or years, some communities stop seeing them as violations and start seeing them as features. Sure, it's a bot, but it's our bot. There's also the economic factor. If a bot has been farming for 2 years, whoever's running it has made incredible amounts of gold or real money. That's hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of resources. The operation becomes too big to ignore, but also too established to easily shut down. Some legendary bots are so good at mimicking human behavior that people genuinely debate whether they're bots or just extremely dedicated farmers. They randomize their patterns slightly. They respond to some whispers with canned responses. They take breaks that look like meal times. They're designed to pass human inspection. And then there are the bots that become legendary because of what they represent. the failure of anti-cheat systems, the brazenness of the operator, or the absurdity of a computer program becoming more well-known than most actual players. All right, let's get into the Hall of Fame. These are bots that became server legends, influenced communities, or operated so successfully that they became infamous. This is from World of Warcraft during Burning Crusade. A fishing bot operated in Stormwind's canals for over 3 years. 3 years. The character's name was Clarence, and he became a server mascot. Clarence was always there, always fishing, and never talking. Players would stand next to him and watch him fish. They'd take screenshots with him. New players would be told, "Go find Clarence the fishing bot," as a server tradition. The community knew he was a bot. Everyone reported him multiple times. But Clarence kept fishing. Some people theorized the bot operator had an inside connection at Blizzard. Others thought the automation was so good it was undetectable. Clarence influenced the server economy. He was pumping thousands of fish into the market daily. Fishing materials were cheaper on that server than others because Clarence was flooding supply. Then one day, Clarence was gone. No explanation, no ban announcement. He just stopped logging in. The community mourned. People made memorial posts. R.I.P. Clarence, the best fisherman in Azeroth. Years later, someone claimed on Reddit that they had run Clarence. They said they'd stop because they made enough money selling gold and didn't need to continue. They never got caught. They just retired. Clarence had earned his operator an estimated 50,000 plus over 3 years. This one's from RuneScape. A bot operation ran hundreds of accounts simultaneously for years, forming what players called the army. You'd see dozens of low-level accounts all doing the same activity in perfect synchronization. The army wasn't just one bot, it was a network. Hundreds of accounts all controlled by the same system. They'd mine resources, chop trees, fish, and transfer everything to mule accounts. The scale was industrial. What made the army legendary wasn't just the scale, but the brazenness. They operated in full view in populated areas. Players would report 50 bots at once. Nothing happened. The army kept growing. Eventually, Jagex launched a massive ban wave that took out thousands of bot accounts, including most of the army. But the operator just created new accounts and started over. The army was back within weeks. The cat and mouse game went on for years. Jagex would ban waves of bots. The operator would create new ones. The economy fluctuated wildly based on whether the army was active or recently banned. Players estimated the army generated millions of dollars for its operator through gold selling. It was a full-time business, maybe multiple people running it. And it operated so long that it became a part of RuneScape culture. The army is back was a phrase everyone understood. Final Fantasy XIV has a crafting system that requires button sequences. A bot was created that could craft items automatically, but this bot was sophisticated. It could respond to whispers with canned phrases. The bot, let's call him Craftmaster, would greet people who stood near it. If you whispered hello, it would respond, "Hello, friend." If you asked, "Are you a bot?" it would say, "Just a dedicated crafter." This fooled a lot of people. Craftmaster seemed responsive. It had personality. Players thought maybe it was just someone using macros, not full automation. Craftmaster ran for 8 months before getting banned. In that time, It crafted tens of thousands of items and sold them on the market board. The operator made millions of gil. When the ban happened, people on the server Reddit were divided. Some said, good, bots ruined the game. Others said, but Craftmaster was polite. The fact that a bot's program politeness made people defend it shows how easily we anthropomorphize AI. EVE Online had a mining operation run by bots that players called the Fleet. 20 accounts, all mining simultaneously in the same belt, all transferring ore to a hauler bot that would take it to the station. The fleet operated for 2 years of 24/7 mining. The operator made ISK that translated to thousands of real dollars. But what made the fleet legendary was that other players started protecting it. Why? Because the fleet's presence meant that mining belt was claimed. Other miners knew not to compete there. And the bot operator was smart. When real players needed the belt for missions, the fleet would leave and come back later. The fleet became an unofficial scheduling system. The fleet isn't here right now, we can mine. It was providing a service, even as it was breaking rules. When CCP finally banned the fleet, some players were annoyed. Not because they supported botting, but because losing the fleet disrupted the informal system they'd built around its presence. This one's wild. In an RP server in WoW, a bot was programmed to stand in the cathedral during RP weddings and other events. It would cheer and clap at appropriate times. It had canned emotes that made it look engaged. For months, RPers thought it was just a quiet player who liked attending events but didn't RP much. Then someone noticed it was at every event, always in the same spot, always with the same responses. It never spoke, it just used emotes. Testing confirmed it was a bot. But here's the thing, it wasn't harming anyone. It wasn't farming or affecting the economy. It was just attending RP events and being a background character. The RP community was split. Some wanted it banned on principle. Others argued it was basically an NPC adding to immersion. One player said, it's more reliable than half our actual members. Eventually it got banned when it became public knowledge, but for a while, a bot was a regular attendee at RP events and no one minded. This is from WoW's earlier days when multi-boxing was allowed. A player had 40 accounts all running follow scripts and attack macros. Technically not botting since they claimed one person was controlling all 40, but the automation was obvious. This 40 character army would roam around doing world bosses, farming raids, and dominating PvP. Other players called them the Swarm. You couldn't fight the Swarm. You couldn't out-farm the Swarm. They were everywhere. The Swarm became legendary because of the absurdity. One person controlling 40 characters shouldn't be possible. But there they were, every day, wiping out entire zones. Blizzard eventually banned multi-boxing software, which killed the Swarm, but for years they were a server fixture. People would warn in chat, Swarm heading to Wintergrass, and everyone knew what that meant. The operator claimed they were playing for 40 subscriptions, so they should be allowed to play all 40 characters. The community was divided on whether the Swarm was impressive, dedication, or game-breaking automation. So how do bots become legendary by avoiding detection for months or years? Let's break down the techniques that make bots hard to catch. First, they randomize behavior. Early bots followed perfect patterns, same route, same timing, same actions every loop. Modern bots add randomness. They vary their path slightly. They take irregular breaks. They make small mistakes occasionally. This makes them look more human. Second, they simulate realistic behavior. They look around by moving the camera. They sometimes run into walls like humans do. They respond to whispers with canned phrases. They avoid obviously impossible actions like frame perfect rotations or instant reaction times. Third, they use multiple accounts to distribute activity. Instead of one bot farming 24/7, they run several accounts that each farm for reasonable hours. No single account looks suspicious because it's logging normal playtime. The operation is distributed across many accounts. Fourth, they monitor for GMs. Some advanced bots can detect when a GM character logs in or when certain anti-cheat systems activate. The bot pauses and acts normal until the threat passes. This makes manual checking ineffective because the bot behaves like a human when watched. Fifth, they adapt to detection methods. When Blizzard updates their bot detection, bot operators reverse engineer the detection and update their bots. It's an arms race. The bots evolve as fast as the detection systems do. Sixth, they operate in gray areas. Some bots use game-allowed macros and claim they're just automating keystrokes, not actually botting. The line between automation and botting is legally fuzzy, so they exploit that ambiguity. And seventh, they rely on developer bandwidth. Game companies have limited GM staff. They can't manually check every suspicious player. Automated detection catches obvious bots, but sophisticated ones slip through. The bots that became legendary are the ones that are just good enough to avoid automated flagging and lucky enough to avoid manual checks. The other factor is economic incentive. A legendary bot that runs for years is worth tens of thousands of dollars. The operator has massive incentive to keep improving it, updating it, and protecting it. They're running a business. They invest in making the bot as undetectable as possible. Meanwhile, the game company is fighting thousands of bots across their servers. They can't dedicate huge resources to one clever bot on one server. The legendary bots survive because they're outliers that slip through the cracks. Here's where it gets weird. Sometimes communities actively protect bots instead of reporting them. Let's talk about why this happens. First, there's familiarity. When a bot has been around for months or years, it becomes familiar. That's just FarmBot doing his thing. It's part of the server landscape. Reporting it feels like removing a landmark. People get used to it. Second, there's perceived harmlessness. If the bot isn't directly harming players, it's not stealing nodes, not griefing, just doing its own thing, people don't feel motivated to report it. Yeah, it's breaking the rules, but it's not affecting me, so whatever. Third, there's economic benefit. If the bot is flooding the market with cheap materials, players buying those materials benefit. Sure, it's a bot, but thanks to it, I can afford raid consumables. The bot is providing a service, even if illegally. Fourth, there's the admiration of the operation. Some people respect the technical achievement. That bot has run for 2 years without getting caught. That's impressive. They appreciate the sophistication even while acknowledging it's wrong. Fifth, there's anti-authority sentiment. Some players resent game companies and their rules. Protecting a bot becomes a small act of rebellion. Blizzard hasn't caught it. That's their problem, not mine. And sixth, there's the mascot effect. When a bot becomes a server joke or tradition, people actively want it to stay. It's community culture at that point. Clarence, the fishing bot, is a part of our server's identity. What's ethically interesting is that these communities know it's wrong to break TOS, but they rationalize it. It's just automation. It's not hurting real players. The company doesn't care anyway. The bot becomes normalized through long-term presence. This creates a weird situation where an obvious TOS violation becomes community accepted. The bot is breaking rules, but the community consensus is that it's okay. It's vigilante rulemaking, players deciding which rules matter and which ones don't. Let's talk about what legendary bots actually means for games, even when communities embrace them. First, they break game economies. A bot farming 24/7 for years floods the markets with materials. This crashes prices for those materials, which hurts legitimate farmers. It makes farming unprofitable for human players. The bot is undercutting everyone by having zero downtime and zero labor cost. Second, they fund RMT operations. Most legendary bots exist to generate gold that's sold for real money. That's the business model. The bot makes the gold, the operator sells it, real people buy it. It creates pay-to-win dynamics where people with money can buy in-game advantage. Third, they waste developer resources. Every hour developers spend fighting bots is an hour not spent improving the game. Bot operations force companies to invest in detection systems, GM staff, and legal actions. This is a tax on development. Fourth, they create unfair competition. A human player can't compete with a bot that never sleeps, never makes mistakes, and farms perfectly 24/7. In any activity the bot does, crafting, gathering, farming, human players are at a disadvantage. Fifth, they normalize cheating. When bots become accepted parts of server culture, it sends a message that the rules don't matter. It creates a culture where cheating is seen as acceptable if you don't get caught. And sixth, they harm game populations. Some players quit when they realize they're competing against bots. Why farm materials when bots control the market? Why craft when bots undercut you? Bots drive away legitimate players. The legendary bots might be impressive technically and assuming culturally, but they're still parasites on the game economy. They're making money by breaking rules and harming the play experience for others. The operators don't care about game health, they care about profit. The bot is a business tool. If it destroys the server economy, they'll just move to another server. Bots that became legends are fascinating because they reveal the limits of anti-cheat systems and the weird psychology of how communities normalize rule breaking when it's present long enough. If you're running bots, understand that you're not a clever entrepreneur. You're a parasite. You're making money by degrading the game for everyone else. The fact that your bot became legendary doesn't make it okay. It just means you didn't get caught yet. And if you're a player who tolerates bots because they've become familiar, remember that every bot is hurting the game. They're not harmless. They're not funny mascots. They're automated gold farming operations that exist to extract money from the game. The blurry line between AI and player is only going to get blurrier as technology improves. But just because a bot can fool humans doesn't mean it should be in the game. Automation is not gameplay. Bots are not players, no matter how legendary they become. Next week on MMO Madness Behind the Troll Mask, we're diving into the fake streamer scandal, when influencers are frauds. We're talking about streamers who faked gameplay, bot follows, staged drama, and built careers on lies. You definitely don't want to miss it. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and support the podcast. Tell your guildmates, share it on Discord, and leave us a review. And if you've got a legendary bot story, witnessed or operated, email us at podcast@mmomadness.com. Until then, play fair, report bots, and remember, consistency doesn't equal personality. Hey, I'm Boss Mode, and thanks for listening.